Hello. I was just reading the Sunday Post there, and I was reading about some teenagers. The mother is 15, and the father was 14. And I was thinking, sad, yes, it's sad, but the other thought that crossed my mind was how different today's youngsters are to what life was like when I was that age. 60 years ago now is a long time. I was born in Worthing on the south coast of England. Worthing was a nice place. We had the hills, South Downs, just at the back of our house, and just at the front we had the English Channel for swimming. The sun always seemed to shine, but we were innocent. Worthing had, well, at the moment I'm thinking a couple of things that were really in its favour in those days. Every year a group of girls came over from France. I think they were exchange students, and we knew about French girls. Well, we thought we knew about French girls. We'd heard about the French films, which were X certificate, and we weren't allowed to see them. But we'd been told about them, and we thought we knew about them, and maybe there was a lot of exaggeration in them, but it made us think. The other thing was the pier, Worthing Pier. Great place. It was free, so it was a wonderful place to go. And on the pier, there was a great big telescope. Oh, a great big thing, made of metal, steel, and you had to put a penny in the slot, and the shutter opened, and you could see Brighton in the distance, or the Dome Cinema, or a boat out at sea, anything. That was good. But to get your real pennies worth on this telescope, there were little sights on the top of it, and you would sight it up onto the, let's just say, the Dome Cinema, and then you put your penny in. It would open up, you'd be right where you wanted to be, and you'd have your full penny's worth of view. So it was just, if you knew that, you got a little more than some other people got. That was a good thing. And going back to those girls that came over from France, they used to like Worthing and sunbathing on the beach. They were special sunbathers. Unlike the local girls or the daily visitors that came to Worthing, the French girls sunbathed topless. Now you realise why the telescope was very important, to get your full penny's worth. There was, must have been 2 or 3 days later, and we were sitting, well, one day during the summer, we were sitting in the ICP, the ice cream parlour. We'd sit in there, a bunch of fellas, and listen to the jukebox, mostly Johnny Ray and Frankie Lane, Guy Mitchell, Doris Day. But there were some new fellas coming along, people like Elvis Presley and Bill Haley, and we liked those, yes. They were American, and we'd seen America on the television and on the films, and we knew America was something good. So across from us at another table were some of these girls from France, and my mates and I got talking about it, and the general opinion was that we'd very much like to take one of those out on a date, but chances were nil. But me, in my own cocky way, why? Why? We could go out with one of those girls. I bet you can't, said another of my fellas, one of my mates. I will, I said, and I bet. I don't know what I bet. It probably was just a cup of coffee or something, a cigarette, something. But he decided I would, and I took the bet. Well, the day finished, and I went home, and my only thought was, how am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? How am I going to win this bet? It dawned on me. I had a sister, an older sister, 1 year older she was. Anne was her name, and she was at a school, and she was learning French. So I said to Anne, will you teach me some French words? Why, she said, and I told her. What do you want to say? She said. Well, I want to say hello. So she came up with, comment vous appelez-vous? Now, 60 years ago, I might have that wrong, but it sounded like that. So I said, whoa, wait a minute. And I got a piece of paper and a pencil, and I wrote it down as it was said. Comment vous appelez-vous? Whatever. Pardon me. Then I said, right, I said, I want to ask them if they'd go on a date with me. She came up with, and I think it was, voulez-vous promenade avec moi? Paper and pencil. Voulez-vous promenade? Yeah, okay, that's fine, thanks. I rehearsed these little bits of, little sentences a few times, and it's a few days later when once again I'm sitting with my mates in the ice cream parlour, cup of coffee, and taking the whole evening over drinking it. And there was a party of these young French girls at the next table. Well, suddenly one of the girls got up and she went outside and she sat at a table outside, and my mate said, go on, here's your chance, go on. So I got up, and I was as nervous as can be. I know how nervous I must have been. But I walked outside and, hello, I said. Comment vous appelez-vous? And she told me her name. Now, I can't pretend to believe what it was. Voulez-vous promenade avec moi? And she looked at me. And then she got up from the table, she took my hand, and off we went, walking, crossing the road and walking along on the seaside. Now, there's a little more to this story, but that's not for telling now. Good enough to say that I went back to my mates and told them I'd won the bet.